Hello fellow duelists, this is Shadow of the Moon, and today I'm actually going to be showing you a new kind of deck that I have not showcased on this channel before, and that is the Speedroid deck profile. So deck is so amazing, it is so incredibly fast, and is able to easily be able to pump out a bunch of monsters, being able to essentially go into Baron de Fleur and double Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. So honestly, I love this deck because of how fast it is, and I thought about building this deck for some time, but I never really got the chance to do it. Then finally, after I bought the second box of Legendary Duel Synchro Storm, I said to myself, hey, you know what? I think it's time to actually start building this deck and actually getting started. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. But I just wanted to say to all my subscribers, my new ones, the ones who continue to watch my channel, thank you so much. You guys rock so much. And I just really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart because it does mean a lot to me that you always take the time to watch my stuff. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get straight on into it. Alright, so the monster set that I have in here with the Speedroids is pretty much going to be the main set of Speedroids. Everybody usually plays this except for maybe one copy of the Red Eye Die. But first off, we're going to start off with 3 copies of Speedroid Ultra Hound. This is an amazing card, and what this does is when this card is normal, sometimes you can send one Speedroid card from your deck to the graveyard, and during your main phase, except the turn this card is sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card, then target a Speedroid monster in your graveyard, shuffle it into the deck, and if you do, special summon a Speedroid Synchro monster from your extra deck with the same level, but a different name, but negate its effects. So this will help you get your Speedroid monsters or your high Speedroid monsters from the extra deck and being able to go onto the field, even if their effects are negated, which will also help you Synchro climb, because honestly, this deck is mainly a very heavy synchro deck. It only has 2 link monsters in here, which is essential. That's pretty much, you have to have its rubber band shooter and everything. But Ultra Hound is an amazing card, which is really going to help you go out with a lot of your plays. And then obviously you have to run 3 copies of Speedroid Marble Machine. Now keep in mind, when this card is like used and it's sent from the field to the graveyard and stuff, and you're using it as a synchro, keep in mind that even though it is a pendulum, it is going to go into the extra deck. I know it's very easy to forget that because, you know, you think as a monster, oh, this is not going to go in the extra deck, oh, this goes to the graveyard and stuff, but no. And essentially what this guy does is when this card is normal summoned, you can activate its effect, add a Speedroid monster from your deck to your hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except when monsters, and you can only use the effect once per turn. But this is a great card because of being able to add a Speedroid monster from your deck to your hand, which is great because you're going to want to add that Speedroid Terratop because it is limited to 1. That's going to be the main card that you're going to add to this deck because he can help you go into a lot of your plays because he can search for your Red Eye Die or any other Speedroid monster that you have. Alright, and then even though it is kind of controversial, I prefer to play 2 because I actually don't see it being really running me down. This is the best card, honestly, in this deck, in my opinion, next to like Takatimborg, because this can modify and change a level of a monster that you have on the field, making it either level 2 to a level 6, meaning you can go into Cork Shooter, and then go into a level 5 or 6, go into level 7, and then eventually be able to go into the Baron with Floor. So what this does, when this card is normal special summon, you can target a Speedroid monster from your control and declare its level from 1 to 6, and its level becomes until the end of the turn. Now this is not a once per turn, so this means that you can use this multiple times during the turn if it gets special summoned back from the graveyard. And then we have 3 copies of Speedroid Takatimborg. This is a great extender for the deck, because if you control one monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. And you can turn this card special summon a Speedroid Tuner monster from your deck, meaning you're going to want to special summon your Red Eye Dice. And then you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except for when monsters. You can only activate its effect once per turn. It's a great extender for the deck because it will allow you to special summon another Speedroid monster, and then you contribute to get a Red Eye Die and special summon that. And then 3 copies of Speedroid Card Turbo. This is another special summon because if you control a wind monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. And you can activate monster effects except for wind monsters. You can banish this card from your graveyard to add this, and have one Speedroid monster you control. All wind monsters you currently control gain 800 attack, which is great. It's important, which can make Baron 4 3800 attack, and can make all your other wind monsters even stronger. So this is a great extender for the deck because of being able to go into that. And I do apologize if the thing is fuzzy. I really don't know why. And then 2 copies of Speedroid Denden Daiko Duke. So Denden Daiko Duke is an important card in this deck because you can banish this card from the graveyard to special summon a Speedroid Tuner from your hand or graveyard, and you can only activate its effect once per turn. This is going to really help you in your Speedroid plays to be able to special summon your Speedroid Tuner from your hand or graveyard, so you can keep going into your Red Eye Turbo. And this is also a tuner as well. You can also use this for Moshi Piper. And then that's going to be it for the multiple copies. The rest are going to be the one-ofs in here. You got Speedroid Rubber Band Plane. If this monster is special summoned to your field, you can special summon this card from your hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters, obviously, the wind monsters. You can only use the effect once per turn. When this card is normal special summoned, you can target a face-up monster on the field. It loses 6 in attack until the end phase of the turn, and this is a great extender because you can special summon it from your hand. And then we have a Speedroid Double Yo-Yo. This card is normal special summoned. You can target a level 3, or normal summon. You can target one level 3 or lower Speedroid monster in your graveyard and special summon it. That's going to be really good. Minoshi Piper, which will let you draw excavate cards from the top of your deck and add them to your hand, depending on how many number of wind monsters that you have other than himself. And also, he can banish himself from the graveyard. And then target a level 3 or higher wind monster you control and reduce his level by 2, so it's going to really help you with the level modifying. And then lastly, the best card in this deck, Speedroid Terratop. It sucks this is at 1. I do know why, though, because of how ridiculous it is. So essentially, you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. When this card is normal special summoned, you can add a Speedroid monster from your deck to your hand, which means you can go in from this to Talkentenborg, then go into Talkentenborg, special summon that, tribute that to go into Red Eye Die, make this a level 2, and then you can go on from there. Alright, so that's going to be it for the Speedroid. The rest are going to be the extra cards. So, obviously, 3 copies, in my opinion, of Wandering Griffin Rider. This is a great extender for the deck because you can special summon this card from your hand. And if you have an adventure token, you control no monsters, or you control an adventure token, special summon this card from the hand. And when a card or effect is activated, you control an adventure token, you contribute this, you can shelf this card in the deck, and if you do negate the activation, if you want to run that, you totally can. I'm using this mainly because of it being level 7, and mainly because if you control no monsters, you can special summon it from your hand. So it kind of acts as kind of like a substitute for Terratop, because Terratop is only like once in the deck. So yeah, that's what sucks about that. Then for the hand traps, you got 3 copies of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. Honestly, you can replace these hand traps with whatever you want. If you wanted Ash, if you wanted Imperm, if you wanted more effect failures, or if you wanted anything, you can totally do that. And then speaking of effect failures, just 2 copies of effect failure. I feel like 2 is good enough in this deck. I think any more would be overloading it. So that's going to be it for the monsters. As you can see, it's a very, very heavy monster set. It's about 28. And then we've got 3 copies of the Speedroid Wheel. Speedroid Wheel is a great extender for this deck because you discard a card, you roll a 6-sided die, and then you special summon from your hand or deck one or 2 Speedroid monsters whose total levels equal to the result but negate their effects. And if you do special summon, you lose life points equal to the result times 500. It's a small price to pay, but this will really, really help you with the deck because this allows you to special summon not 1, but potentially up to 2 from your deck. And if it's a tuner, you can send to the graveyard. You can go into your combos and stuff for that. Alright, and then we've got 3 copies of Speedroid Scratch. Did not know this card was as good as it is. You send a Speedroid card from your hand or add a Speedroid monster from your deck to your hand. This is another great card. You can add the Wind Channeler if you wanted to in the deck. I choose to get this because it is a Speedroid card, and it doesn't count towards my monster count because I already am running quite a bit. I'm running 28. So yeah, this is a really, really good card in this deck because you can add a Speedroid card from your deck to your hand by discarding. And then 3 copies of Speed Recovery. Speed Recovery, you can target a Speedroid monster in your graveyard to special summon it during your main phase. Except this turn when this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your GY, then target a Speedroid monster in your graveyard and add it back to your hand. So that's a great way to be able to add those back to your hand to keep going with your plays. And then 1 copy of Call by the Grave, because Call by the Grave honestly is a great extender because it allows you to banish a card from your opponent's graveyard to kind of stop whatever they have. And then for the traps, you've got Speedroid Duplicate. Duplicate is great because it can be common. It's essentially a monster trap. And also, if you wanted to run Imperm, you could run Imperm as well as this. I'm just running 2 of these to kind of keep with the theme. And Imperm can be somewhat pricey. It's like $10 a piece. But if you had that and you wanted to run that, that is totally up to you. That's another great option. Alright, so that's going to be it for the main deck, guys. Let's move on to the extra deck. So first, obviously, Baron LaForge, you can see I've obsessively double-sleeved it because it's a pretty expensive card, and I wanted to make sure that I didn't mess it up and everything. So this is going to be your Omni-Integrate, and it's very, very easy to bring into. If you can't afford this, you can run Clear Wing Crystal Dragon, and you can also run Clear Wing Clear Wing Dragon or whatever, that's a very, very budget option because those are a lot cheaper. As you know, I only have this because I pulled it. Otherwise, I would be playing Clear Wing or Crystal Clear Wing Synchro Dragon. It basically is the same thing. You just need to have the level 7 for it. But this is going to be your Omni Negate, and it's very easy to get into. And then you have your Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. This is going to be your Monster Effect Negate. Very, very easy to get out. So I will be showing you a combo video later this week, showing you how to get these two and get a Baron LaFleur out and the Rubber Band Shooter by just using 2 cards. So yeah, stay tuned for that. That's definitely going to be looking forward to that myself. And then Speedroid Kite Drake, which either shuts off monster effects or destroys all other cards in the field except for Speedroid Kite Drake. Great card for going second. And then Clear Wing Fast Dragon. Clear Wing Fast Dragon, quick effect, you can target face-up monster your opponent controls that was special summon, and in this turn, change its attack to 0 and also negate that face-up monster's attack. So it's going to be really, really helpful for the deck. And then we got Stardust Charge Warrior as a kind of extender for the deck. When this card is synchro summoned, you can draw a card, and you can only activate once per turn. This card can attack all special summon monsters your opponent controls once each. So it does kind of help because it is a 2100, and it can actually get over quite a bit of monsters. And then you have a High Speedroid Hagoita. Hagoita is just in here for the extension because it is a level 5. So keep that in mind. Also, High Speedroid Chanbara. Chanbara here is also for the extension. And then we have the 2 copies of the Cork Shooter, which is one of the best cards in the deck because this is what you're going to be using 99% of the time. You're going to be going into this, and then you're going to be resurrecting the 2 monsters that you used for the Synchro Summon event, and then going into a level 7, and then from there going into this and that level 7 into Baron LaFleur. Alright, and then we've got 1 copy of Virtual World Shenshin, so your opponent basically shuts down their graveyard. It gets banished. Every card that is sent from the graveyard is banished instead. It's a great extender for the deck. And then Jiju, which is another really good card, cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. If you have 2 or more monsters in your graveyard with the same original type and attribute but different names, you can banish 2 cards from your graveyard with the same original and attribute but different names and target 1 card in the field and send it to the GY. So it's really good to be able to do that because it's able to shut off monster effects, and it's also able to bounce the card back. And then we have Winged Pegasus, which is a great extender because if this gets sent to the graveyard, this can also banish a card, which is very helpful. And then lastly, you've got 2 copies of High Speedroid Rubber Band Shooter. This will allow you to special summon an additional monster or summon an additional monster, and is really good for this deck because it gives you so much speed. Alright, so that's going to be it for this deck profile. I love this deck to pieces. I've actually been trying it out quite a bit, and even though even though Terratop is only at 1, it's still very good, and it still does so much. It is so incredibly fast, and it's just a lot of fun to be able to play with. And just keep in mind for the combo video that I'm going to be showing you, it's very easy to do. It only requires 2 cards, and there's so much stuff that you can do. This deck is a lot of fun because it is a win deck through and through because of how fast it is, and you can just do so much with it. So, alright, that's going to be it for this deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more, and with that, see you guys next time. Later.